All right, I had a question on how do you factor something to the fourth power? And this could be true whether you're to the second, third, fourth, fifth power, who cares? But you want to use synthetic division. So the easiest thing to do is I look at this back number and I think about factors of 54. So if this coefficient is something other than 1, then there's another video on what to do there. But I still always try the factors of this number first, because that's the way I'm not dealing with fractions. But think about the factors of 54. Obviously, it could be positive negative 1, because that goes in there. 2 goes into 54. 3 goes into 54. 6 goes into 54. I mean, 9 does. I mean, there's lots of factors of 54. There's more, but I'm going to start with these. So what you do is you use synthetic division, cut a band-aid on my finger, and you write down all your coefficients. And I'm looking through a phone, so this isn't very neat. Notice you want to make sure you have them in order, x to the fourth, x to the third, x to the second. Make sure you're not missing any, x to the first, and then no x's. So I've got coefficients for every term. If you're missing one, you would need to put in a 0 for a placeholder. Okay, so synthetic division. Draw my little liner here. Now, you can try any of these you want first. I'm looking for something that will give me a remainder of 0. And honestly, because I see this as a 9, a 27, and a 54, I honestly would try 3 or negative 3 first. Okay? Because this already is negative, and this one's negative, I am going to guess and use a 3. Okay? Now, if it doesn't work, it's okay. I'm going to start over. I'm going to write these coefficients again, and I will try something else. Okay, but I'm always hoping for the best. So I'm going to drop this first number down, whatever it is. Drop it down, multiply on the diagonal. Okay, then you add up and down, multiply on the diagonal, add up and down. We're going to multiply on the diagonal, add up and down, and then once again that gives me 54. Now, notice I did get a remainder of 0. That means that 3 is a factor, or a 0, so that's what this means. This is a 0, okay? So that's cool. Now, from here on out, once I get this 0, I am now going to use these numbers that are left. I will not start back with my original one. It will help me find a 0, but it's not going to help me break it down. Notice here there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. Now I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So I'm going to use these, and I'm going to look again for another 0. Since this is to the fourth power, there should be 4 zeros. Okay? Now, here's the deal. And remember, it can be any of these if they are nice zeros, okay, rational zeros. So I could try 1 or negative 1, 2 and negative 2, and that's normally what I do, and I use with a friend, and I'm like, hey, you try 1, and I'm going to try negative 1, and so we can work together and find them faster. Look right here. I still see that these are factors of 3. So just because it's a 0 once does not mean it won't be a 0 again. So I'm going to try it. It may or may not work. If it doesn't work, I just kind of put an X through it, write these 4 numbers down again, and I keep looking. Okay, it's a guessing game, truly. Drop the 1 down, multiply on the diagonal. Add, multiply on the diagonal, multiply on the diagonal. And I just got lucky. There's another 0, okay? Once you get a 0, you use the numbers that are left. Once I get down to 3, notice this is a 1x squared minus a 1x minus 6. So once I get down to 3 numbers, I like to write it as a quadratic, and then I try to factor it the old-fashioned way. If I can't factor it, I use the quadratic formula. But you know what? I can factor this, because x times x is x squared, and I know factors of negative 6, that will add up to negative 1. So that is this factored, okay? And by the way, this is a 0 again. Yeah. Okay, so look at here. If this is a 0, then x minus 3 is a factor. This is my factor. And some of this is just terminology. Again, if 3 is a 0, x minus 3 is a factor. Okay, this is my factors. So look at here. I've got x minus 3 times x minus 3 times all this. So I'm going to write that in there. I'm guessing where this is going to fit. X minus 3 times x minus 3. This is my quadratic formula. Excuse me, it's not quadratic. It's my polynomial to the fourth power factored. Notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4 factors. I would prefer to write this as x minus 3 to the third, because they're exactly the same, times x plus 2. Doesn't matter what order you put those in. So this is factored. If it asks me my zeros or it tells you to solve, okay, my answers would be 3 and negative 2, because that's what makes it 0. Now, so if you put a 3 in there, you would get 0. If you put a negative 2 in there, you would get 0. In fact, this one would be a 0 with a multiplicity of 3, and this would be a 0 with a multiplicity of 1, because it only happened one time, whereas this one happened 3 times. All right, there you go.